Good evening, everybody. My name is Sam Boer, and I'm the chairman of the Kingsport Planning Commission, and I'd like to welcome everybody to our September meeting. In light of the COVID pandemic, I start out each one of our meetings because we're conducting this electronically with a statement that I'm going to ask each of the planning commissioners to affirm to if they agree. A determination by the commission that meeting electronically and prohibiting the physical presence of the public at the meeting is necessary to protect public health, safety, and welfare of all concerned in light of the COVID-19 virus. At this point, I would like to ask Mr. Weems to poll the commissioners.
Chairman Boer.
Affirm.
Vice Chair Breeding.
Affirmed.
Alderman Phillips has stepped out because his item's first, so we'll need to catch him when he comes back in.
I will.
Commissioner Blackwell.
Affirmed.
Commissioner Duncan.
Affirm.
Commissioner Moody.
Affirm.
Commissioner Rickman.
Affirm.
And Commissioner Stauffer.
Affirm.
Okay. Having gotten that out of the way, I guess that would kind of serve as our introduction of the commissioners as well, but I'd also like to introduce our city staff we have here. This is Ken Weems and Elizabeth Poxabut, and Savannah Garland is with the city as well. So the way we conduct our meetings is we have a number of items on our agenda. Once that's approved, I'll begin to go through those items. One of the city staff will introduce that item and give the commissioners an opportunity to ask questions, make comments, and then at that point we'll open it up to the audience. If you're here on a particular item, you can comment either for or against that item. I do ask that if you do speak, that you give us your name and your address, so we have that for our records. And after your item's concluded, you're welcome to stay, but you're free to leave as well. So with that, I will go ahead and get us started with approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
A second. Those in favor of approval of the agenda as presented say aye. Those opposed, no. Mr. Weems will call the roll.
Chairman Boer.
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding.
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Commissioner Moody.
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman.
Aye.
Commissioner Stauffer.
Aye.
Okay, the agenda is approved. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the work session meeting on August 17th, 2020, and the regular meeting held on August 20th, 2020. Hearing no changes, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
And those in favor of approval of the minutes of the work session meeting on August 17th, 2020, and the regular meeting held on August 20th, 2020, will say aye. Those opposed, no. And Mr. Weems will call the roll.
Chairman Boer.
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding.
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Commissioner Moody.
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman.
Aye.
Commissioner Stauffer.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes stand approved. We have no items on our consent agenda, which brings us to new business. Item 9-01, Arch Street rezoning. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission is requested to send a positive recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to rezone the Arch Street property from R4 to R5. The property is located inside the corporate limits of the City of Kingsport, 11th Civil District of Sullivan County, and Mr. Weems has his presentation.
Thank you. This is an owner-requested rezoning from R4 to R5. So that's medium-density apartment district to high-density apartment district. And on the vicinity map there, you can see where it is along Arch Street, directly behind the Food City Center complex. And Arch Street, of course, connects to Roller Street that goes behind the Food City complex. The site itself is a total of 0.42 acres in size, and the proposal is to construct a 14-unit apartment building here on the site. With that 14 units apartment building, he'll be right at 33.9 units per acre. He's also providing, or the developer's proposing to provide 1.66 parking spaces per unit, where the standard is 1.5. Looking at the zoning here, the orange zoning that abuts the rezoning site is R5 already. The site itself in the same beige color is all R4 district, which is the vast majority of the rest of Arch Street. And then we have the green is our B2E district, which captures that parking lot to the south. That's the western extent of our B2E district. That's the Central Business Edge district. And then the parcels in red are ones that front West Center Street, and those are B3, which is our highway-oriented business district. It's important to note that this site right here during the September Board of Zoning Appeals meeting got approval to eliminate the 10-foot grass strip that would typically front Arch Street for any type of multifamily or commercial structure that's built. You can take a look at the resulting site plan here. You can see where the parking itself abuts right up to the very front property line of the property, whereas the Board of Zoning Appeals got rid of that or eliminated the requirement of that 10-foot strip. But you can see the site here, the parking layout and the two points of ingress, egress, the structure itself. It's going to be essentially the same thing as all the other, multifamily apartments that the same developer has built over the years. Some of them have variations, but it's going to be a very standard model. You can also see the dog park back there on the right side, that existing dog park that the developer has for all the tenants of his properties. Staff does recommend sending a positive recommendation to the board. We feel it's an extension of that R5 zone that's already there, and the neighborhood is starting to transition to multifamily. Of course, staff would be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Hearing no questions, I'd like to give the audience members an opportunity to speak either for or against this. Hearing none, I'll turn it back over to the commission.
I'll make a motion that we send a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone from R4 to R5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to send a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone this parcel from R4 to R5. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, those in favor will say aye, those opposed no. Mr. Williams will call the roll.
Chairman Boer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding,
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Moody,
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman,
Aye.
Commissioner Stalford.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. That will bring us to our next item. Before I call that, could somebody let...
I am right now.
Oh, great. Thank you. I'll go ahead and call it then. Our next item on the agenda is item 9-02, North Park rezoning. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission is requested to send a positive recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to rezone the North Park property from B3 to R3. The property is located inside the corporate limits of the City of Kingsport, 1st Civil District of Hawkins County. Mr. Weems has his presentation.
Good deal. Do you want to go ahead and read the statement, let James affirm that now since he's back
Yes.
in here too?
Mr. Phillips, you had stepped out when we read our statement on COVID, so I'm just going to ask you to affirm a determination by the commission that meeting electronically and prohibiting the physical presence of the public at the meeting is necessary to protect public health, safety, and welfare of all concerned in light of the COVID-19 virus. Do you confirm?
I do affirm.
Okay.
Okay.
So the North Park rezoning, you can see the vicinity map here. It's in Hawkins County, adjacent to where Netherland Inn Road intersects with West Stone Drive, and it's directly across the road from that existing Verizon store on the south side of West Stone Drive. That's right in there at the intersection of Netherland Inn Road and West Stone Drive. This is an owner request from the current zone of B3, which is Highway-Oriented Business District, to R3, which is a low-density apartment district. The site itself is a total of 7.6 acres in size. To the north of the site, you've got R3, low-density apartment district, the same zone that the applicant for this action is seeking. To the west of it, you have an existing B4P zone. Of course, contained inside this zone is the AEP Allendale power substation just to the west of the site. And on the east side, you have an M1 district that used to be an Omnisource car crusher. Use was in there in the past. And on the other side of Stone Drive, of course, B3 uses. It's important to note this rezoning site actually wraps around a parcel that's owned by New People's Bank right there. The proposal is a total of 86 townhouse units, and that's 11.3 units per acre proposed. Of course, the max with the R3 district would be 15. Each unit is going to come with a garage and driveway parking, plus you have scattered parking throughout. You can see their zoning development plan right here. And you can see each unit will have 2 spaces, and you can see the sporadic, wherever they had space, they were able to fill in some additional parking for visitors. They're on their site plan. Staff, from a zoning perspective, these multifamily uses, anytime you have them where they can conveniently get out to a major thoroughfare, or if they're up against commercial uses, we typically call that multifamily zone a transitional zone, or a good buffer between commercial and where single family starts. So staff feels very comfortable recommending to the commission to send a positive recommendation to the board for this rezoning. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Is this the one we talked about in the work session about the traffic light would be?
Right, there's an existing traffic light that goes straight over to Netherland Inn Road, and it's permanently on red right now, but it's one that can be activated, and it's already in place where there's actual activity there on site. And I have to apologize that I know the bottom half of this map is blacked out, but that's just the way it's going to have to be for these types of maps for the next little while. Our GIS is working to get those our ortho photos back, but typically every year when we update our maps, they'll black out the area in the vicinity of BAE for what I would characterize as Homeland Security. Of course, if you go to Google, you can see it very easily and everything.
Google Earth.
But on our GIS, you cannot. So, yes. But that's the proposal right there, and we're working with the developer. It'll all be private, drives that serve it all. There won't be any. The only type of plat work that might be done will be some replatting, most likely.
Okay, I'd like to open it up to the audience for comment. Does anybody like to speak for or against this item? Hearing none, I'm going to turn it back over to the commission.
I'll make a motion that we send a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone the North Park property from B3 to R3.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to send a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone from B3 to R3. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, those in favor will say aye, those opposed no. Mr. Williams will call the roll.
Chairman Boer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding,
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Moody,
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman,
Aye.
Commissioner Stauffer.
Aye.
The motion carries. That brings us to item 9-03, Stonegate Road rezoning. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission has requested to send a positive recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to rezone the Stonegate Road property from B3 to R3. The property is located inside the corporate limits of the city of Kingsport, 11th and 12th districts of Sullivan County. Mr. Weems has this item.
Thank you. The majority of this owner requested rezoning site is what's commonly known to people that have lived here for a while as the old Walmart site. It also encompasses a site that used to contain a car wash use. And you can see where it is right there, right off on the east side of I-26, right where it intersects with Weststone Drive. And the southwest side of this rezoning site is, interstate ramp. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're talking about. As I mentioned, it's an owner requested rezoning from B3 to R3. And here you can see it a little bit easier. The large open spot, used to contain the Walmart. The parcel itself is actually keeps on going there on the north side, the little strip between the Model City Apartments and the interstate itself. And so a portion of this parcel that's up there, it's already zoned R3. But that's just a little leg. I didn't even capture the extent of it in this zoning graphic. You can also see down on the southeast part, it jumps over Stonegate Road and grabs two other parcels. One that used to contain a car wash, and the other one, if you're driving through there, you might think it's a through street, but it's actually a parcel that used to contain the cars that would enter and exit the car wash right there. You've got, as I mentioned, the multifamily use to the north, the interstate to the south and west. You also have those B3 uses along Stone Drive there, the Little Caesars and the Mexican restaurant. And there's a gas station just south of where the car wash used to be. We got a P1 district that you can see there in blue. That's a single family home, but it is a P1 use. I don't know if an office use used to be there or not. And in all the yellow is R1C. And R1C is our single family district that allows the smallest lot sizes in our zoning code of 5,000 square feet. It's a total of 16 acres in all, and the proposal is to build 77 single-family units there where and I'm going to go ahead and skip to the, you can see my aerial map right there, but I'm going to skip to this zoning development plan. The proposal is to build a total of 77 single-family units on the Walmart, the former Walmart portion of this rezoning site, and a total of 14 townhomes where the car wash used to be. And we just the other day just got in a phase 1 preliminary plat for the single family uses there along Stonegate Road. And the other side of what will eventually be a brand new city street on the other side of the parcels that front Stonegate Road as well. And of course, all the homes are going to be scheduled to front the internal streets. Staff does recommend sending a positive recommendation to the board on this one. Typically abutting an interstate, goodness, a multifamily zone where I know they're proposing single family, but, a multifamily zone is very appropriate for there. It's appropriate to give a developer that much density, in an area like that, and let them go wild with it. Density consistent with the model city apartments too. But staff does recommend sending the positive recommendation to the board, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
When was that Walmart raised? I'm just trying to remember that.
I'm not sure. Someone threw out a date during work session, it seems like, that where they thought it might have been, maybe early 2000s or something like that. I want to say 2004, but I can't really substantiate that.
That was a busy spot back in the 90s.
Mhm.
Yeah. I heard it was dumped over there in Colonial Heights, all the rubble from it. I've had someone complain, tell me that's where they dumped it all. Down in Colonial Heights off of Fort Henry, real close to the interstate.
We're
I don't know how
used,
true.
we're used to getting dumped on over in Columbia High.
Yeah. Off of Tall Oak Court and Fort Henry Drive is where I've had someone claim they dumped it, but I don't know.
I was just curious. I could not remember when that thing went away.
A long time ago.
Last blue lights, please.
Unless anybody has any other questions, I'm gonna open it up to the audience. Would anybody like to speak on it? Go ahead, sir.
My name is Mike Dragon, and we own 4 parcels. We can pull the map up.
Sure.
And my concerns is, and you know it, is it's going to be consistent with Model City. We can't handle no more of the troubles that we've gone through. We try to make this area better. So as a lot of neighbors, since we come in, they try to make their homes a better place. We still have, I don't know how many records we've called the police, people passed out in our parking lot, the syringes, the beer cans, the partying behind the buildings after hours and stuff. And the Kingsport police cannot handle the problem right now with what we've got. Why would we add more problems to some good people, is my question. I know people's got to live somewhere, but we've got too big of a problem up there right now to do it again and add to it. And that's what's going to happen.
Well, I think I mentioned that the density would be consistent with Model City, but the use would be anything but consistent. You're probably looking at 185 to $250,000 homes that individuals will own, as opposed to it being, a temporary homeless camp at times or a dump site like it is today. So that'd probably be the biggest difference.
I actually own a house on 910 Fairview, and I can tell you that this will be the best thing to happen for your property, my property, and anybody else's property up in there since the Walmart
The
left.
thing about it is, if it's not, we can't change it after it's done. There's more people that would probably come out, but due to the COVID, I guess we're the only, I don't know if anybody else here, I know Alan's here to speak on that. But, what's the apartments actually, going to consist of? 2, 3 bedrooms, 1 bedroom?
Well, now, the site itself, if we look at the development plan, it's not going to be apartments, it's going to be single-family homes.
Single-family homes?
Yes, sir. Now, this will be townhomes right here, a total of 14 townhomes. But these are all proposed to be single-family homes, and no, it is a multifamily zone, but that R3 zone that they're looking for can hold,
Okay.
single-family homes as
I'm just a
well.
little bit confused. Who would want to buy a home, but it up against Small City?
Well, that's irrelevant to the discussion. Yeah,
But if somebody wants to build them up there, we're not,
Yeah. yeah, the market would certainly dictate it though, for sure, yeah.
So
But really, what I'd like to see that parcel is we come off the interstate, we get access in there, we bring more businesses to this area, which we need. You know, we're losing a lot going to the Pinnacle, and we keep making places for all these apartments and stuff like this. Kingsport's not going to have a place to put business.
Yeah, well, it won't be apartments, so it's gonna be, single-family homes up here,
Okay.
on that part right there, the former Walmart side. They'll all be single-family homes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but before you pass this, would it be possible to have or what I want to say, not the builder, but whoever is going to look over this project to put it up and put it in writing? That's what's going to happen.
No, it wouldn't be.
This stuff
no.
before, and I've heard the same thing, and then it turns around and that it ends up being what I thought it was going to be, but there's nothing I can do about them. They, oh well.
And no, sir, it wouldn't be. No, it's the zone itself does dictate all the uses, and
Do you think it's going to increase or decrease the value of our business properties right there?
I can't give an opinion on that.
Can anyone give an opinion?
My guess is that it would greatly help.
I'm very
I would
excited.
say it would decrease it
Yeah.
because it's going to push the business out of this area, I believe. And you can see that too.
People are gonna own these homes, right?
It'll be individual ownership of every single one. Yes, that's what it is.
What's the square feet of them?
I haven't seen any of their actual house plans, but they'd be consistent with the homes on the other side of Stonegate Road as the, parcels are, generally the same size.
I would say this,
Okay?
you own Lafayette Air Conditioning.
Yes.
Would it be better or worse if I put 100 homes with air conditioners within 15 feet of your business?
Well, it ain't always, about the money. I'm getting back to the issues and problems that I've got today that the city of Kingsport can't take care of for us. We begged for help. They said they was gonna, start policing and flooding the area. That's never happened either. And I was told face to face that yes, that's gonna happen. You can go back and look at the police reports where we've called in. We found backpacks that had guns, that had drugs in it that we turned in. The syringes, come over any morning with me, right at daybreak, we walk around. Just walk around with me through the restaurant parking lot, around my business and stuff, and get back with me.
Well, I know what you're saying, because like I said, I have a house on Fairview, but
Right.
let me tell you this little story real
Do
quick.
you live there?
No, I own a house on Fairview that's a rental house. I'm there every day, but let me tell you this story real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I bought 2 houses and tore them down on Arch and Roller Street. Every day I walk there, same problem, syringes, drugs, whatever.
Okay.
So when I came before Planning Commission way back 10 years ago, I had people saying, we don't want apartments here, they're bad for us, they're bad for us. I've got people begging for me to buy their land from them now over there and build apartments, and we have totally transformed that entire area. Now, I'm not saying good for me, but what I'm saying is, it takes somebody taking the first step. So if everybody's going to be upset when somebody's trying to go in there and put $300,000 homes, somebody's got to take the first step to cleaning it up. So somebody going in and putting in 77, $250,000 to $300,000 homes is a pretty gigantic first step towards looking for what
You're
you're.
talking about putting actual homes in there.
That's what he's saying. It's going to be $250,000 to $350,000 homes going in there. That number maybe fluctuate a little bit, but
Who
70.
actually owns the parcel now?
The actual owner is Carla Karst and Todd East.
He's doing well.
Well, I would think if you've got people on their own homes, you're gonna have some support in your area there to help you.
I agree, but where I'm bumfuzzled on this, I just really don't see anybody paying $300,000 to live right there next to Model City. I'm sorry, I don't see that. I mean, I've got to be, I don't see it. I mean, I don't see it. I don't think any one of us in here would spend $300,000 to be backed up to Model City.
Those will be the less expensive ones.
Okay, where do they start at?
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, see, we need to have all of our information, guys, before we can go through this. I'm not against nice homes. Oh, absolutely, let's see somebody take the first step, but the city of Kingsport ain't with us on Model City, then, you know, what's the future plans for Model Cities? Anybody know?
There are none.
Which they needs to be. It's just too big of a problem up there. And granted, God loves some of them that live up there needs that, and they need our help. But there's a lot more of them, you know, that's more troublemakers than anything, drug users.
Now, of course, I was just talking about the use itself. I'm sure that there could be police
Well,
programs or other
exactly.
things, you know, that are going to impact. I'm just
Right.
speaking strictly from a
Okay.
zoning and use perspective.
Okay. So you're saying what backs up to them is it gonna be houses or what?
It'll all be single-family homes is what the proposal is for the entire site that used to contain Walmart. All of them will be single-family
What-
homes on their own lot.
What kind of distance will be between the homes?
Minimum of 10 feet.
So each one of these blocks is gonna have a minimum of 10 feet between them, correct?
Each home will have a minimum of 10 feet
What kind
between.
of structure will it be? Will it be brick, siding, what?
I don't have any details on the exact homes, but they will be built to the building code standard, I can assure you. Whatever the building code allows is what they're authorized to do,
Well, that's,
like anyone else, you know.
yeah. Well, I'm still, I'd love to see it, but I'm not sold on somebody spending $300,000 for a home out there. I could, you know, it could happen, but I just don't see it.
Well, that's the trend anymore, is people don't want a big yard, they don't want a nice home.
Well, that's true, they want the patio homes and stuff,
Yeah.
but all I'm asking is, you guys watch out for your neighbors, you know, you do have some good people. I would really like to know, I just don't understand why they want to build a $300,000 home right here and go across the road and build, how much? Did you say? I don't know what you said.
On the other side of Stonegate, the bottom part?
No, the top part that butts up against Model City.
Okay, what was the question again, sir?
What is going to be the value of those homes?
Okay, we don't know exactly what the value of those homes will be. It's hard to say right now. Probably no one does, but they will be single-family homes is what the proposal is.
But you would pass it to without no one having that knowledge?
It's irrelevant, yes. To our needs, we're looking, to the commission's needs, it's irrelevant. They're basing it off the use.
Alan?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, I'm Alan Edwards, and I have a business that sits right in front of those townhomes. And I guess you're saying it's multifamily use, but it could be low-density apartments, so it could go either way with the developer. I mean, it could be
Well, yeah, he could,
single-family homes,
yeah, in theory, right, he could scrap that plan
You could go
and come to apartments, yes, sir,
So it could
absolutely.
go either way.
Yes, that's correct.
So it could go either way.
Yeah, so we're going to put a distinction on exactly what would do it.
But then I don't, then that even makes me even more, that's a good point. I just don't think $300,000 homes is going to go up right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I really don't see that happening either. Just knowing the area and being over there, it would be a wild stretch to me for a $300,000 home.
Yeah, I know that.
When I read the letter, I was like, it's almost ambiguous with it's gonna be multifamily, but it could go either way. It could go single-family home or apartment complex. Or building, whatever.
That's correct. Yes.
be the developer's discretion.
Yes, they can put anything in there that fits in an R3 if this is approved.
And that's without detail to the planning commission of what exactly the structure would be, the square footage or whatever, sort of type of structure.
Well, yeah, just to back up on that a little bit, if they did apartments there where there were multiple principal structures on the lot, they would have to come back to the commission for zoning development plan approval. Yeah, so they actually would have purview on that. And the commission will also have to visit this one again in the future to approve the subdivision of land as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to concur with what Mike said. I mean, we have so much trouble. I've been broken into 4 times now.
Oh, wow.
You know, and it is very bad right now. You know, there's so much traffic up through there that we find so many people that laying behind the shell, which is directly behind the townhome proposal there. I'm the first parcel right there in front of the townhomes on the corner of River.
Oh, okay.
I'm right
Yeah.
behind the Alphatron. I've got a
Okay.
business there, a technical business.
That $300,000 house, I have no
Yeah.
problem with it, but I'd say it's not gonna happen. But if he comes out and says, yeah, we'll put $300,000 homes in there, then he can go either way and say, well, no, I don't think we all, I think we're gonna put some more apartments right there. Then that, you're adding to our problem. Like I said, right now, we can't get support, which is really sad. We pay a lot of tax dollars right there to have one location.
Oh, yeah.
And we do the best we can, and all we're asking for is help. But now it seems like instead of giving help, that we're wanting to put more on us. If that is true, like you said, absolutely, I'd be the first one to take a step to improve this area. I back it 100%. And I think there's some guys that here knows I would do that. But it's happened to me before that we proposed deals like this, and then they scrapped it and went to something else. That's what scares me,
If
okay?
we wind up with another apartment complex in there, it would be, I just think it would be another mall city.
Hey, it will be another one,
Yeah.
see, it's just gonna add to the problem, they know it. I mean, y'all can do the math on that. I mean, that's,
There is some rest now. You know, we had Edward Jones move out, we had Nationwide Insurance move out of that street where the pizza place is now. We'll see, directly in front of me, right at that side road there. And they've moved out. I think you have the International Week still out there or not. You know, Mexican restaurant on the end, but those from the map, it looks like it's going to butt right up against them. And I'm sure they would be going out of business.
oh, I know.
I really can't see them staying in, so they're so
No,
depressed.
unless,
I just don't know how they do that road.
I don't know who owns this parcel, but they pull that facility. I'll be interested.
But it would be,
Interested.
it'd be a stretch if they stay.
Yeah,
I'm just hoping, I had always hoped there'd be more business development in that area. To be truthful, that's what I'm doing.
yeah, I appreciate you guys, I think
Yeah,
we're
oh, yeah.
all east and everything, don't get me wrong, but we're gonna be the ones that's left there, okay? That's what I want you guys to think about, please. You know, like I said, I've got 4 parcels, we've got the restaurant, Lafayette, but I also got a rental house that I spent $70-some thousand on remodel and get it looking good. We've really turned that corner around. I think if you guys remember 7, 8 years back, what that corner looked like before we took it over. We just only try to improve the best we can. You know.
And I've done a lot of improvements too, but my partial butts up against Mike's.
Yes.
We've been the two that's tried to get that place.
And other
working.
people,
That-
and other
they did
people
that
are, it
trying to
is,
improve
it's like a cancer, it's, you know, people, it's spreading and people are wanting to do better. But it would, I bet you $1 to a donut, if we go through with it, that's gonna be Model City too. And I want you guys to think about that before that happens. If they come in here and propose that they was definitely, no question, going to build $300,000 homes right there, I would support 100%.
Absolutely.
I'd go over and take the shovel and dig the first hole, I promise you. But I don't want them to sneak in with apartments. I want you guys to protect our backs, and I'm depending on all of y'all to do that. And please see where we're coming from. I mean, we've got a mess right there anyway, and I don't know how we can control it, and I hate these masks. But anyway, you know, with that being said, the way lumber prices are, you know, $7 a table for now, it would take a lot to get to $300 now.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But land all jokes aside, please guys, just protect us on this one, okay? Just because I'm scared to death that's going to come in as part of it's going to be Model City too. It's just going to be, it's going to add to it.
Can just clarify what you said. If they wanted to change, if the developer wanted to change it to apartments, it would have to come back before this board.
Well, yeah, not the zone, you know, because
Right.
the zone would already be in
So,
place.
see,
But,
that's what we got to watch.
well, and it's assuming that the apartments are proposed to be built in a fashion where it would be multiple principal structures on one lot.
Right.
That's a trigger mechanism to generate a zoning development plan approval from you all. So, yeah. And I don't, it's very rare you'll find it where they're all their own individual lots, typically for a site this large, so.
The best thing that they put there is for if you want, you know, dwellings is a gated community because you would have to put a big wall up there and all the way around it. Or you will not get the class of people that live there that would buy a $300,000 home. I mean, guys, you know, not the sharpest tool in the shed, I'm telling you, they're going to pay $300,000 for a home in Oklahoma City.
Well, the area too, not only that, but on the other side of the riverside there, from the proposal is all, you know, those homes, there's nowhere near, they're probably, 40,000, maybe 50,000. It's gonna take the very top, I'm gonna say 30 to 40 probably. And that would be my, you know, right behind the closest townhouse right at that street there, all them on the tower, 30 to 40,000 probably, retail value, in my opinion.
And what's going to happen to our property if the apartments come in, the value, it just went, I mean, it knocked the bottom of it. There ain't no question. And we've got our life savings in that property, guys. Me and my wife has got our life savings in it. I mean,
I've got mine too.
it's just not a few people want to apartments to make some money. It's about the good people that it's going to affect.
Hey Ken, let me, if a positive recommendation gets made here tonight, what's the next steps? Where does it go? And so these gentlemen could follow it?
Well, regardless of the recommendation, it goes
Okay.
next, just like your letter says, to the October 6th BMA meeting. Now, being here on October 6th at 7 PM.
Okay.
Same place and everything. So, you know, make sure to attend that. That's a public hearing as well, you know, so you'll have an opportunity to speak to it then too, so.
How much weight does your positive carry?
Well, I can tell you this, I'll answer that.
You know, positive, negative, or, you know, I mean.
The BMA has disagreed with us before. Quite frankly, it's exactly that, just a recommendation.
Right.
They don't always agree with our recommendation.
Okay. But will they know our concerns and what we just discussed?
You'll have the same
But
opportunity.
I'll have to do it all over again.
I'll communicate it to them
I
in
didn't know if
advance.
y'all
yeah.
documented this, recorded it.
Yeah, what is, and did you sign in, sir? I want to make sure I capture, what is your name? I just
My
want-
name is Mike Drain.
Okay.
So I did sign the papers.
Okay, if you don't mind, just to sign the sign-in
Oh,
sheet, if
absolutely.
you're okay with it. Yeah, I just
Absolutely.
want to capture the spelling and everything, just so we can make sure that, you know, we preserve your comments and presence here,
Okay.
for
And you
sure.
can bring more people with you. I mean, you can-
And Phil, I will, and that's what I was gonna say, at the 7 o'clock be better timing. But, you know, a lot of people that stole it don't wanna get out, so, you know, can we do it? Can they do it electronically, for that meeting?
No, sir, you'd have to come here, physically come
I thought
here.
we just, didn't you, what was you saying earlier about, doing it electronically?
We have a member, Mr. Blackwell, over on the screen there, and every time that we, have one of our members attend
Okay.
electronically, we have to read that statement.
Okay.
It's the
So
state law
only the
provision.
members can communicate?
That's right, yes, sir. Same with the
So,
BMA.
I saw people, they couldn't come to the meeting, they would just be out then, their comments would not be.
Well,
heard.
no,
Or
I,
can't be heard, is what I'm saying.
No, I encourage them to email, write, or call me with comments. I've done that many times over the years
Okay.
for people that can't attend. Of course, they can always feel free to come here too, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take it any way they want to give it to me and deliver it to the board.
And I'll reiterate that Ken frequently will say, I've heard from 7 people, 4 were against, 3 were in favor, and so he
Oh, yeah.
he takes all that seriously.
I'm standing here before you, and I would just about guarantee you that they were not being $300,000 homes up.
Right.
I mean, I know everybody's, have you guys went and looked at this parcel?
Mhm.
Has everybody
Yes.
seen it? Okay. Well, there's nobody gonna buy $300,000 homes up there. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Some of them aren't gonna be, some of them are gonna be 200.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
that's what would be, what I would wanna know about the ones that's backed up against Model City,
There will be a buffer between Model City and these homes.
what kind of buffer. That's why I was asking, would they be a wall?
Yeah, there's not one required, but the developer is planning to put a.
To put a buffer.
Do we know who's gonna be the developer?
Yes, it should be, well, the developer, as it is right now, would be Carla Karst and Todd East, but I suspect they'll probably have an outside developer come in to build the homes rapidly, most likely. I don't think that agreement has necessarily been reached yet, but I suspect that's the case.
Okay.
He's not really into doing a lot of apartments, is he?
Well, that's,
No, he's never done one at all.
that's what, I don't know how much to say,
Right.
but he
Oh,
doesn't
yeah,
do
he's done.
apartments.
Okay, yeah.
The Churchill. Yeah, there was some issues with that too. So, that I won't go there with that, but I'm asking you guys right here, right now, look at what's being proposed. You know that ain't right. Right now, I'd stop at dead end tracks. I'm totally against it. I'm totally against it. And you got good people, I know you're gonna stumble on their toes for a developer, and it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you all.
Sir, in the back, would you like to speak on this item?
No, sir.
Just wanted to make sure.
Are you sure?
Alan Edwards, I just like to concur with Mike, and what he said is pretty much spot on for me. I just don't see, a single-family home going in, especially if it's left to the developer's discretion, with Model City being there, and especially the surrounding area, the homes around it, if you take a look, they're all low-income, $30,000, $40,000 homes, especially on the riverside end there. I just don't see that type of $300,000 home development going in. Just don't see that happening, especially if it's under their discretion. I'd be against it too. I just leave to the commission to consider and just take another hard look at that. And I just don't think that would happen. It'd be great if it would. I mean, if it was $200,000, $300,000 homes, yeah, that would be great. But it's probably going to be just like Model City. And we have so many problems now.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact now. I know for a fact, I just know. But, yeah, that would affect our property. If that's the second Model City, the only thing that's going to be left there is that little restaurant, the little service station. Selling cigarettes and beer and pops. When it could be a whole lot more for the city of Kingsport.
It really could. I really feel like it could be.
It could be
There'd be a lot more done with that.
It could be a lot more done with that. There's, yes, that's a lot.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you both.
Let me know what for listening. Thank you.
This brings a neighborhood to mind to me, which is Timber Ridge Trail, that backs up to housing. And when it was first going in, and those homes are on the 300,000s. And that was one of the first thoughts, is nobody's gonna pay that for it.
I like to speak.
So
I
much
lived
more
in this
done.
moved out of Timber Ridge.
Yeah.
I lived in Timber Ridge for 15 years. And there was always concern to everybody in that development about that housing project behind. And there was a lot of homes that wasn't sold in there because of that. We had our home up for sale several times in that development. And, people left because of that when they found that out. And they drove around, seen us around. It's been a negative, not a positive.
That happened to us down Churchill. My
Yeah,
neighbors
it's
lost their
been
houses after
I
that.
lived there for 15 years.
It happens.
Yeah, it's been a negative. It's a negative.
But, you got money people that, wants to come in and do that stuff without the fault, without the one fault of other good people around there that's going to affect. It's a money thing.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
all it is. But I think the city of Kingsport, the planning commission can do so much more for this area,
Yeah,
that parcel, than anything, and I would help that area grow. But if it goes to apartments, there's no choices for the good people, and you know what that is. They got to get out. It'd be that simple, because we can't handle what's going on there right now. There's just too much, there's just too much meanness, too much drugs, and not enough policing. And I support the police 100%, my son's a state trooper. I don't know what else to tell you guys. I'll play with you, I'll play with you. I'm just a peanut compared to the ones that want to do this. I'm truly just a peanut, and they can bulldoze me over. But I just want people to listen, that there are some good people in that area. I think the planning commission could do more.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
You're good.
Oh, geez.
You're fine, sir.
We're not here to be negative.
Yeah,
We're not here to be negative. I guess
No,
it's just if
no.
you live in a certain area, you have a real strong perspective
Yes.
of what the area is. And we're not trying to be negative at all.
Yeah,
We're just trying to tell you, if you live in a certain area, you really have a
Yes.
perspective of it. And I think that property could be so much more.
Yes.
I really do, I honestly.
And we've done that.
So much for the city. I like to see Kingsport grow,
Yeah.
and their businesses just grow.
The
It seems like we're not. It just seems like Kingsport's not.
It's all over.
It's going everywhere. It's going to the Pinnacle, it's going to Johnson City, and Kingsport can be so much more.
It can be.
I have so much more high hopes for the city of Kingsport. I really do.
I guess, just if I can, a little bit of struggle. I hear what you're saying,
Yes.
and trust me, all of us are listening and taking it in, but I hear the comment, it could be so much more, and where I struggle with that is what it's been for the last 10 years or 16 years. It's been vacant,
But
And-
somebody's paying tax dollars,
and,
so.
I don't think we have got,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
that's all right, I just wanted to comment on that. It's sat there, and really, we're not approving, or if we do, or whatever we do as a commission, the development, and we have certain guidelines we have to go by anyway.
Right.
So it's not us sitting up here just whether we like to see it or not.
I respect each and every one of you, and I respect your input.
Right.
I totally do.
Okay.
There's no question about that, and I would never dispute that. But yes, it's sitting there, and if something is there, yes, the city of Kingsport can make us some more tax dollars. There's no question. But there's other way to make tax dollars.
Gotcha.
There's other ways, and right now, we need to bring more businesses in, industry, because, we've lost some guys, we've lost it, and we keep throwing up apartments on parcels that could possibly bring, some good shops or something, and more tax dollars, and more people holding in Kingsport and sitting around in Bristol now. It would be so much better for us, so much better. I'll leave it right there. I'll leave it right there. And I appreciate you
Sure
guys
does
listening
houses,
to us.
too.
Thank you, sir. You're fine. So at this point, I'm going to let the commissioners discuss this, and if anybody would like to make a motion, you may.
I was just curious, does anybody know how long it's been for sale? John, do you know?
It's been for sale for at least 15 years.
And it's sold now, right? I mean, they own it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. It just
But they
makes,
did well with the wireless, everything down there, so that's what I'm saying, it can be utilized. Because you're not gonna get much tax dollars from, low income apartment like you did at the Model City, and it's still enough for costing the city money, but I mean, some days have had police up there, we've had shootings up there, we've had stabbings, molesting. I mean, and you guys are aware of that. So, I don't, if they can guarantee that it's $300,000 homes, I'll shake their hand and say, man, I support you, let's go for it. But all indications point to one thing, and that's more apartments. That's what I said.
let me just say, I know you're getting hung up on that. I said 300, and I just threw that number out there. It could be, it could be 90, it could be 180, there'll be a range. I mean, I don't know what the range.
Please don't do that. I'm straight up, an honest man. And we're in a meeting discussing this, that it's got our livelihood, our name on it, and our life savings. And that's exactly right. But I want everybody to be honest and say, okay, it's gonna be $90,000. Then I won't be up there jumping up and down. But if you say 300, man, I'm for it.
I know, and that's what I'm letting you know. I just threw numbers out there. I don't know exactly what they are.
Okay, with that being said, I'm totally against that project, totally, because I know what's gonna do.
Well, your point is heard, and I'm gonna close.
Phil, I'm sorry, buddy.
I'm gonna let the commissioners discuss this and make a decision, and if anybody would like to
I
make a
would be
motion.
totally against it too. Yeah.
But thank you, both.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely.
We do hear what you're saying, believe me.
No, I know, I appreciate it.
We've had people come in here and say, we don't want this there because we don't want those people there. We can't make decisions based on somebody's emotions about not wanting certain people.
That's right, but we know what, that's a breeding ground out there. And it's not gonna stop out there at that line. I think, once you put apartments there, then all it's gonna be good friends. And I'll put my money on that.
Yeah, I just think that partial would be just well suited for another type of retail or something we do over there. Some type of access to the interstate off ramp or something. That roadway needs to be changed. I think Walmart, isn't that why they moved out because they like it?
Well, just the fact that,
And the trouble too, that was there.
well, once we rezone it, you can go bring a business in, unless we come back through something to rezone. It's zoned right, let's leave it there.
Do the commissioners have any other questions or comments? So we have several other items I'd like to call for a motion.
Ken, I want to ask one more time. Sure. Please don't think I'm an idiot. I want to ask one more time. If there's a motion made and it passes, and it goes to BMA, and then 2 months from now they haven't broke ground and they decide, I now want this to be apartments, these gentlemen would have the opportunity to come back and say something because it would come before PC again. Is that a correct statement?
So, like in between the PC's recommendation and the BMA date, they changed their idea on what the,
No, I'm saying BMA approves it in 2 weeks or what, if
Okay.
everything flies through approval, and then 2 months from now, they decide, you know what, no, homes aren't gonna work, I wanna make it apartments.
They can do
Would
it.
these gentlemen have the opportunity to come back when it comes back before PC and speak again?
oh, yeah, they would, because they'd have to bring a zoning development plan for multiple principal structures. It would trigger that, and so that's something that the commission would have to, consider and approve, so.
So, and more than likely, if anything changed with this, going from single-family homes to apartments, the neighborhood would have the opportunity to come back to PC and speak again.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
we
yeah.
just have two legs to
Yeah.
stand.
Just to-
That one leg.
But the commissioners are discussing it amongst themselves at this point. Thank you.
So the answer is, these questions, they'd have to.
They would, they'd have to, right, well, the zone would be in place then, but they would still have to bring, they'd have to turn in a zoning development plan, showing what they're planning to do. And with it being multiple principal structures, the planning commission would have to approve it. Just like a zoning development plan such as this is required for, it was the trigger for them to have to create that one was the rezone. So, just in general, just generally speaking about it, we have 3 different triggers for ZDPs. There's rezonings, there are multiple principal structures, and then there's certain zones like B4P zones. Like, well, and actually that's what the next item is a B4P zone. Then that's why it's coming to y'all for that zone.
Sir, I'm going to close public comment on this. We're going to discuss this amongst our,
Okay, I just want to rebuttal on that right there.
Thank you. Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, but before anybody makes a motion, what we're being asked to do tonight is to consider whether or not an R3 would be an appropriate zone for this parcel. Is that?
That's
am I
correct.
summarizing that?
Yes. And forward a recommendation for or against that to the board. Acting as an advisory board, like you are with these, like with any type of rezoning.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I got stuck in traffic, got here.
Since you've not had an opportunity to speak, I'll give you an opportunity. Go ahead. Open it back up. This is your, this is
I have a dinner reservation at 7 with my wife and daughter.
keep it brief. 'Cause it's item for one.
Is he gonna get to speak?
As long as you got that distance.
Yeah.
I won't sneeze on the way.
Well, I know some people are concerned, but, about this, but, and I understand not knowing what's gonna happen. And folks might do that, but what we're trying to do is do R3. And we're talking about, what we're showing you all is what we have. I don't build apartments, I've never done that. So people sometimes could worry about that in R3. But the reason why I need R3 is to get a little bit more density to make this project work. And so, do you know how most of the bad actors get there? They get off the interstate. I've been up there visiting with those people that run that place. They get off the interstate and they walk up across through there. And that's what gets dark. When we go in there and build houses, we're getting ready. I think I estimated, because we feel that we need to fence it. We're probably going to spend about short of it's a little bit over $165,000 just to fence. 8-foot vinyl. Because I'm still worried that they're going to get off the interstate and walk up there someday. I don't need them to run into my single family people that's invested the biggest investment of their life to live up there.
And I'm gonna tell you something, to be honest with you, it's a little scary what I'm trying to do up there. But right now, it's dark. You know, James lived up there, I've been up there, and looked at that place for 5 months. James was a homeless person who lived up there underneath the TP. And, you know, James is gone now, we cleaned it up. However, we haven't completely got everything done, but this is what we're looking at. If that don't create safety, I don't know what does. It's just, it's, when you put people to living, you know, in there, right now, that place is wide open for trouble. I mean, go up there anytime you want to. I've been up there a lot looking at it, because I'm concerned about it too. Because I'm trying to come in and do something that's been dark for 18 years. And that's why everybody else has walked away from it too. So I really encourage y'all to support me. It's dark. We're gonna turn some lights on. And I don't know whether apartments should be good or bad. I ain't never done that. I don't know what apartments are. I've never done an apartment in my life. Not to say I guess somebody could, but if anybody doing something there besides maybe putting up a glue factory, a horse factory up there, that's what I'm thinking hurt anybody.
What about a good strip mall?
Huh?
What about a good strip mall?
Well,
That's, you know, that's zoned right. I don't think it needs to go.
that's strip mall. Let me ask you something. Where do you see right now commercial at retail?
Bristol.
We're not Bristol.
Bristol.
Where do you see it growing at right now?
Bristol. Where do you see it growing?
I happen to have some. And I'll tell you something, it's been tough down there. We took that, tell you what,
Okay.
we took the old armory down there
I know all about it.
and we turned lights on. Looks a little better. But to tell people that a lot of people's made offers on this thing, but they all get scared back down. It's hard to get into. That's the only reason it's not streaming with lights. There's no easy answers, as anybody knows. It's got any, I know where you're at. It's right there, got a neat little bit.
So, yeah, so you're really concerned about that dark spot, all the stuff you got that you're gonna turn lights on.
That's kind of what I do. Like where you go and you put your air conditioners in, you're a part of keeping things new and rebuilding things, right?
We keep things going, absolutely.
Or you just want it to stay dark?
Do what?
You just like for it to stay dark? Would you like for it to stay dark? Is that what you prefer?
Well, I'm kind
Because
of
I don't have a plan for
I'm
commercial.
missing your point on my level, to be honest with you, about it being dark and stuff.
Well, it's dark right now. Is there a light on up there? Those people that traipsing across that interstate, from that interstate, they tell me that the worst actors they get up there is the people coming off that interstate. And I believe it could be true. Never thought
So
about
you're gonna build a gated
it.
community,
Not gated, just gonna fence it. No, it's not gonna be private.
okay? Well, I'm disagreeing. I don't believe it.
I guess just keep looking, because I'm gonna tell you something, if somebody could have done it for commercial,
People, I've been down wrong before, so I know, and I'm not saying that you would do that, but I've been told things and like you're telling me.
well, let me ask you something, have you ever heard, you say you know what I do, have you ever heard me go out and tell folks I was gonna do something, didn't do it? Rock Springs people wasn't sure about me either, when I went out and did that. There's a lot of them against me, but you know what? I still go most of their houses today, that still live there.
That's just like Churchill, we even got that finished down there yet, and it's supposed to be in a contract, paid up to date, ain't even done.
What are you talking about?
Down at the volunteer farm,
Yeah? What happened?
it's not finished.
Yeah, 08,
I
come
don't
on.
know, I don't know.
Well, 08, well, since you're going around,
And I was
Earl,
told. Okay.
told is hearsay, you're listening to me.
Okay, I'm asking you to go down and finish that project and then start this one. I don't want, I'm just all I'm saying.
You telling me to go do
I
something?
said, no, I
How's
said.
that your right? Tell me to
No,
go
I
finish
said,
that.
I said that project down
That's
there needs to be
bullcrap.
finished.
To tell me to go down to, let me tell you something, you don't know that I may have plans for that place right
Okay,
now.
I hope.
Well,
This is a good opportunity for me to encourage you all
Well, I'm just
to
saying, I don't like
communicate.
somebody else, I don't go tell him where to put his air conditioners, I don't like nobody else, I'm not gonna do nothing ugly.
Well, I'm gonna ask, Danny, do you have anything else you want to say?
Finish it.
I do business
But the
with them.
market hasn't been there. See, I wasn't there for 2010. Let me just see, the
We
stepfather.
had contracts.
The stepfather of ours got killed
Do you care?
Well, no, you're a good guy. And I went down in 2010 when that thing was in the
This is
hole.
yeah.
And you know what? I get along with most of those neighbors down there, I do. I ain't gonna speak for everybody else, but I do. No problems. You heard any problem about me? I'm talking about me.
Well, I don't think this is
No,
the
I
place
think-
to hire things out.
Well, you wrote it up.
No, I said.
Well, tell me to go down there and finish it.
No, you brought it up because you said.
Mr. Commissioner.
Can you?
I'm the commissioner. I'm Mr. Chairman.
I'm just asking, this place is,
Danny was at Brady's.
Danny, I'm gonna ask you all to communicate separately outside of the meeting.
I'll do that.
I'm closing the audience
I'll do
comment.
that.
I appreciate you coming to us,
Well,
exchange
I'm trying to do
information.
something up here.
You all can go talk about it. I'm closing public comment on this item. I'm gonna go ahead and call for a motion on it.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone from a B3 to an R3 district for the Stonegate property.
Second.
We have a second of the motion to send a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone from B3 to R3. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion to send a positive recommendation to the BMA to rezone from B3 to R3 will say aye, and those opposed, no. Mr. Williams will call the roll.
Chairman Booher,
Aye.
Vice Chair Brady.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell. Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Commissioner Moody.
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman. Commissioner Stauffer.
With that, the motion carries. Thank you all for your input, and I do encourage you all to speak. Communication is not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, he's the man right there. You need to talk to him.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 9-04, the True Shine Zoning Development Plan. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission is requested to approve the zoning development plan for 2227 Fort Henry Drive. The property is located inside the corporate limits of the city of Kingsport, 11th Civil District of Solon County. And Mr. Weems has his presentation.
Thank you. So this, taking a look at our vicinity map here, everyone will probably know this is the current site of Shoney's right there. You know, the effects in between Fort Henry Drive and the mall. Right next to it is the Crazy Chicken Restaurant and a window tinting business. It's a fairly well-known spot right there, familiar to most Kingsportians. If I can get this slide to change here. It's a total of 1.45 acres, and what this is, it's a zoning development plan approval that we'll see here in just a minute. And before we get to the graphics of the zoning development plan itself, I do have a paper copy over here if anyone needs to see a large paper copy that they turned in. It's sometimes the graphics are, you know, decent at best on the computer, so I have that if anyone needs it. But you can see here, this is the southern tip of the same B4P zone that contains the Fort Henry Mall. Abutting this to the south starts the B3 highway-oriented business district on both sides of Fort Henry Drive with, as I mentioned, Crazy Chicken right up next to this side and Walmart on the other side of Fort Henry Drive. And to the east and west, you have existing single-family zone in use. As I mentioned, of course, the mall to the north of this site. You can see the aerial right here. As a reference during, as a part of my comments during the last item, this being a B4P zone, this zoning development plan comes to you all to approve. Very similar to like in the PD zone, how the planning commission has control over that. That's be like a residential B4P, whereas B4P is planned commercial. Taking a look at the site itself, it is a car wash proposal. Plan to go in here where the current Shoney's is. One unique aspect of the B4P zone you can see is right there on the east side of the parcel as you're looking at it on the graphic there. And that's the 30-foot development-free periphery yard. And right now, it's not necessarily development-free. There is some asphalt in there that'll be pulling up. It'll be all green right there along with a buffer fence. on the right side there, buffering off the residential, and the existing trees will stay in place. They have some additional trees they're gonna add there, which would essentially be to the side of the window tinting business. As for the plan itself, it's typical of these car washes that seem to be, popping up everywhere. You cycle around and you have the vacuum in the middle. The landscaping that you can see on there has already been approved by our landscaping specialist to be to the B4P standards, and staff does recommend approval of this zoning development plan. Are there any questions on this one?
Ken, you might have said it, but traffic's looked at the entrance. Is this using the same entrance that is there now? Well, I guess the major question is, traffic has looked at it.
Yeah, traffic has looked at it. Now, you can see they've scooted it over a little bit, probably, from right where it is on the zoning graphic there, that aerial. It's a little bit over there. But our traffic looks at it, and ultimately TDOT supplies the driveway permits, and these are to the TDOT standard. But our local traffic office, they facilitate that communication between the developer and TDOT.
So they've looked at it, no comments or?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
it's approved and to their standard for, distancing of driveways.
Gotcha.
They are closing
They-
the
I
entrance.
started to say
There's
they're
currently
closing.
2 points of ingress and egress.
Right.
They're closing
They're
one there.
closing
Yeah.
one on the west side.
Okay, all
That
right.
other one over there.
Thank you.
Sure there's residents on Oglewood will miss the smell of bacon.
No doubt. Endless pancakes, man.
Sir, would you like to speak on this item?
Only if you leave. Not only am I a realtor, I'm also a member of the planning commission in Bristol. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I will turn it over to the commission for further action.
I will make a motion that we approve the zoning development plan for 2227 Fort Henry Drive.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the preliminary zoning development plan as presented. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion for approval of the preliminary zoning development plan will say aye. Those opposed, no. Mr. Weems will call the roll.
Chairman Boer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding,
Aye.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Moody,
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman,
Aye.
Commissioner Stauffer.
Aye.
With that, the motion carries. And that brings us to our next item.
Thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9-05, Gibson Springs Phase 3 preliminary. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission is requested to approve the preliminary plat for the Gibson Springs Phase 3 subdivision, as well as the associated variances based upon conformance to the development plan and the approved construction plans. Property is located inside the corporate limits of the City of Kingsport, 14th Civil District of Sullivan County, and Ms. Garland has this presentation.
All right, so this is Gibson Springs Phase 3 that's located on Phillips Way. It is zoned plan development within the city limits and urban growth boundary. It does conform to all the PUD district regulations. Phase 3 will have 18 new lots. There are 2 variants requested that will allow street cross-section to match the previous phase of the subdivision of no curb and no gutter. The second variance is to paving the mobility path. The mobility paths are allowed as an alternative to construction of sidewalks so long as they are paved with asphalt. The mobility path is located in the power line easement running parallel to the development. Staff recommends preliminary plant approval for Gibson Springs Phase 3 and the associated variances based upon the conformances with the development plan and approved construction plans. This was one that came back in February to you guys as well, that was approved for the construction plans.
And since we are without an audience, I'll entertain a motion at any time.
Wait, I need some clarity.
How important is that dinner reservation? Yeah.
I do have a question. There will be one more of those, and then that will complete Gibson Mill on the other
Well,
side?
now, that one's it right here, because phase 2 is on the other
Yeah.
side. When
Yeah.
it first came through, we had 2 and 3, but 3 had to drop off because there were some issues in the construction plans. So we just brought it back now. Yeah, but this will finish it off right here, yeah,
Maybe that's the variance
yeah.
that they're asking.
But yeah, you're right, yeah, there is another dead end cul-de-sac just to the southwest of this one, yeah, absolutely.
You did ask for a motion, didn't you?
At any time.
I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat for the Gibson Springs Phase 3 subdivision as well as the associated variances based on the conformance of the development plan and construction plans.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for preliminary plat approval for the Gibson Springs Phase 3 subdivision, as well as the associated variances based upon conformance to the development plan and approved construction plans. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion as stated will say aye, those opposed, no. Ellen, do you want to call the roll, or?
Yeah, we'll let her call it. It's right there on the sheet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chairman Boer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding,
Aye.
Alderman Phillips,
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Moody,
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman,
Aye.
Commissioner Stopper.
With that, the motion carries. And that brings us to item 9-06, Cherokee Bend Phase 2 bond. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission is requested to approve the acceptance of the cash deposit guarantee of improvements in the amount of $819 as calculated by the City Engineering Division to cover all remaining improvements. Ms. Garland has this presentation.
So the City Engineering Division calculated an estimate to cover the cost of the required improvements to meet the minimum subdivision regulations for the final plat of Cherokee Bend 2. The estimate is the amount of $819. The remaining improvements includes a 6-foot concrete sidewalk that's 5 by 6 feet wide. The cash deposit guarantee of improvements will have an expiration date of September 17, 2021. Staff recommends approval of the acceptance of the cash deposit guarantee of improvements in the amount of $819 as calculated by the City Engineering Division to cover all remaining improvements.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion anytime.
I make a motion that we approve the acceptance of the cash deposit to guarantee the improvements of $819.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the acceptance of the cash deposit guarantee of improvements in the amount of $819. Any discussion of that motion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion for approval of the acceptance of the cash deposit guarantee of improvements in the amount of $819, say aye. Those opposed, no. Mr. Weems will call the roll.
Chairman Boer.
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding.
Aye.
Alderman Phillips.
Aye.
Commissioner Blackwell.
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan.
Aye.
Commissioner Moody.
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman.
Aye.
Commissioner Stauffer.
Aye.
I'll say that's the first time since I've been here we've ever had a cash bond. Only because it's just so small. But I told him, I said, oh, please do cash. Let's not do a letter of credit.
That makes sense. That brings us to item 9-077. Tired. Item 9-077 subdivision regulation amendment. The Kingsport Regional Planning Commission is requested to approve the proposed changes to the minimum subdivision regulations. Mr. Weems has this presentation.
Good deal. During the work session, I talked a lot about how Alderman Phillips and myself and our assistant to the city manager, Jessica Harmon, that used to be with the planning staff, been working for quite a long time on this, and not just on subreg amendments, but changes to our PD zone and many other things as well. Of course, this is the subreg amendment portion, and these are all designed to really speed up the process and give a little bit of leniency due to some variance trends that staff has noticed and supported, over the last couple of years. This first slide, what it does, it'll truly speed up the process. What it is, and this is a trend that's taking place across the state, it's allowed by state law, and what it does is currently the planning director has the authority to approve 2-lot plats that don't require variance. The planning manager, his or herself, can approve that in-house. And we have quite a few of those that come through. But what our change proposal is to give preliminary and final development or subdivision approval authority to the planning manager for all subdivisions that either don't require a variance or don't require a bond. You'll still see all of these subdivisions. They'll come to you just like you see every month at the very end of your packet with the subdivision letters. And of course, anything with a variance or undoubtedly a bond would also come to the commission. Typically with the bond, though, you would see the subdivision and what the proposal is, and then it would be a bond approval in the context of that subdivision if it's, to subdivision regulation standards. The next one all deals with frontage, and what this proposal is, right now, all lots have to have 50 feet of frontage. There's no deviation from that unless you want to go into variances. What this one would do, it would allow a lot frontage reduction down to 40 feet for any lot proposed inside a PD zone. And outside the PD zone, for all cul-de-sacs, regardless of what they're zoned, it would allow 35 feet of frontage along the cul-de-sac lots, or the lots that are cut off the cul-de-sac. And just due to the arc in a cul-de-sac, the lots themselves always expand, from the road. And so this will allow a little bit of increased density, but more importantly, let them, utilize the space that cul-de-sac provides access to in a much more efficient manner, as opposed to eating up all their, lot size with due to their large 50-foot road frontage. The final one here deals with the configuration of residential lanes and residential streets. Residential lanes, by definition, serve 25 single-family homes or fewer. And typically they take the shape of a dead-end cul-de-sac. As it is right now, all residential lanes require a 5-foot wide sidewalk on one side of the street. What we're proposing is to eliminate the sidewalk requirement for lanes altogether. So lanes, after this passes, assuming this passes, will not require sidewalks. The other change is to the other street that we see built quite often is the residential street, and that serves, it's the next step up from a residential lane. Serves 26 to 150 single-family homes, and currently 5-foot wide sidewalk is required on both sides of a residential street. What we're proposing is to reduce that to one side only, and also reduce the required right-of-way width from 50 feet to 40 feet. Our Public Works felt comfortable with reducing that right-of-way, and that right-of-way width, that's very key space right there. You're providing more developable land to the developer that's not eaten up with right-of-way. that's not that necessary now if you if you only have sidewalk on one side of the street. To give a decent idea of how this would impact an existing well-known subdivision that we have, one that doesn't have any sidewalk inside it at all, we took a few minutes to doctor up a picture of Preston Forest here. And based off their street classifications, all the existing ones and all the homes that they serve out there, if that neighborhood had been developed from the beginning under the regs we're proposing, what you see there are all the residential streets, and all the green ones, the residential streets, would have a sidewalk on one side. So all the main drags like Sussex and Essex, all the main drags would have it. But all the streets that serve 25 or fewer single-family homes in this case, the ones you see in red there, a lot of dead-end cul-de-sacs, they would have no sidewalk at all. But you would see that definite connectivity all the way from the bank on the south west side all the way up to New Beesonville Road on the northeast side. That's just an example of where the actual sidewalks would go if Preston Forest was developed under our proposed regulations. But we've, gosh, it seems like I've talked about this for like years and given the same presentation for years. So, but staff does recommend the changes, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have. If this is approved, I'll add that we're going to get with our public relations lady, Adrian Matara, and do a press release about it, talking about the, not only the subreg changes, but the PD zone changes as well that the BMA considered Tuesday night this week and approved. And also at the same time do a information release direct to all of our design professionals, surveyors, builders, and everyone that we've met with. And when I say we, I mean myself and Alderman Phillips and Jessica, all the ones we met with over the last several months, and any other ones that we have that we were never able to get a hold of that have done business in here, just to let them know what the new standard is. And this new standard is something that all staff members are on board with as far as adhering to. And I think it'll give staff very clear direction as far as, what the recommendation will be. Someone brings in something, that would require a sidewalk, a residential street, and they don't have it on there. It's going to be a negative recommendation to the planning commission. And I think after the effort we've gone through to push out all this information and make this new standard known, that, the commission, if it saw it appropriate, would, without a doubt have grounds to turn one down that's not to this standard. I don't think it's too much to ask of these developers, for what the proposed standard is to meet that. And in talking to them, it's reasonable, They found this to be a very reasonable change. So I'll quit rambling about it and see if y'all have any questions about it.
Yeah. I think you covered it pretty good.
Okay, great.
I'll just add, I do want to add this tonight. I said it on Monday, but I just want to say it tonight since it's the meeting here, is that as a VMA member, I cannot commend Jessica and Ken enough for everything that they've done in looking over all these regulations over the last 6 months and the meetings we've been to and everything. And I think that our goal when we started out is to be the most builder-friendly city, and I think that not only is this a step in the right direction, and we're there. I mean, this puts us, we're there, and the most important thing about this is it puts us on a level playing field with all the other cities in our region. There were some things that were out of whack, and so they did an amazing job going through and combing through all the sub-regs and really just bringing all this to the board. And I think Ken has presented it wonderfully to us, and I'm personally very excited about it. I know builders and developers are already talking about it, and they're excited. And I just encourage the board or the commission that to echo exactly what Ken said, is when a negative recommendation does come, because somebody wants to put a gravel path in, we just need to make sure if this passes and have their back on that, and because that's all the work they've gone through, that'll be important to show support for them and send that negative recommendation to the BMA, where there'll be plenty of explanation as to why it came that way.
Yeah, or if it's a subdivision, the buck will stop here.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, correct,
So,
correct.
yeah.
I did like the idea of meeting with surveyors and builders and things instead of just sending an email.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we wanted their
Communication.
input, and to know that this was, it'd be hard for them to disagree with these changes, of course, and you have some that don't want any, to do just the bare minimum on everything, but at the same time, even those people felt that this was an appropriate compromise from how we've been doing, so.
Well, it would be nice to be on a level playing field with our competitors, that's for sure. We don't want to put ourselves behind out of the gate. And I think this is a fair and reasonable way that you put this together. If anybody else has anything, I'm going to call for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the proposed changes to the minimum subdivision regs.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval of the proposed changes to the minimum subdivision regulations. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of approval of the proposed changes to the minimum subdivision regulations will say aye. Those opposed, no. Mr. Weems will call the roll.
Chairman Boer,
Aye.
Vice Chair Breeding,
Aye.
Alderman Phillip. Aye. Commissioner Blackwell,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Commissioner Moody,
Aye.
Commissioner Rickman,
Aye.
Commissioner Stalford.
Aye.
Motion carries. That ends our regular business or new business, and any other business.
No, that's, we just have our regular subdivision letters, and I will say, probably quite a few of you all knew Mark Haga. He left, goodness, back in January of this year. He was our housing coordinator, and he took a job with HUD. So we hated to see him go, and ever since then, Jessica and I have been holding the housing coordinator position together with duct tape and super glue and some wishful thinking, I guess. So fortunately, the city manager has authorized us to hire someone new, and we conducted interviews, and we have a lady that has accepted, and I'll make it official and release her name, everything once she goes through the whole process, but I hope to have her on board here at the beginning of October, hopefully, as soon as possible. And I'll definitely bring her to Planning Commission here just to introduce her to you. I know Mark kind of came to our meetings maybe once or twice a year, but I'll have her come on down, and I think it's going to be a great change for that program. Certainly better than Jessica and I holding it together the best they can with everything else going on. So but I just wanted to make that announcement, and that's all I've got.
Does that get you back to fully staffed?
No.
You're still.
I need a guy to take over zoning, or a gal.
down one.
Yeah. Maybe a gal with red hair. How about that?
Any other business? All right, with that, we will adjourn.
It is.